Good morning, everybody. That was Reasons to be Cheerful from Induri and the Blockheads. This morning, you're listening to Soho Radio, and my name is Nina Davis. This is What's Offstage, and we're going to be talking to a couple of people from the theatre world. We have, I never said it like that, I don't know why I said it like that, like a complete twat. Anyway, we've got Alexander Vlahos in the studio.
Hello.
Good morning, Alex.
Good morning,
It's very lovely
good
to
morning.
see you. And we have the lovely Max Gill, too.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hello.
Alex and Max are working on La Ronde at the Bunker. Alex is in it, and Max is directing it. And we'll be chatting to you a little bit later about the songs that you've chosen and about how it all came about, about how your production company came about, Heretic Productions, and about Alex's work since I last saw him, which was the Emperor and Galilean in the Olivier.
Yes.
Things have changed quite a bit, I would imagine.
Well, also the first thing you said to me was, "I've got a blue tick." So there
You
we
have
go.
got a blue tick, I know,
That's what's
we're all a
changed.
bit jealous, love. I've only got a blue tick, Jesus Christ. Right, so I'm going to play another song, and then we're going to do a bit of theatre news. I'm going to catch up on a little bit of theatre news. There's quite a bit this week, or there's a fair amount of sort of interesting casting news. But first of all, let's play this little song here. That was Don't Leave Me Namakitipa by Regina Spektor. Get your teeth in. Right. We have got a bit of theatre news for you now. Firstly, I'm going to cough. And now, Emma Rice has announced her final season, sadly, at the Globe. It's a very sad thing that she's going. But the final season that she's doing is going to be called Summer of Love, and there's going to be lots of Shakespeare involved. But the most exciting developments of that, probably it's not actually, but George Ikediashi, who was on the show a few weeks ago, Le Gâteau Chocolat, is going to be playing Feste. I know, our lovely George, who was here a few weeks ago. He was such a lovely guest, and he's going to be playing Feste in 12th Night, so that's very exciting. It was announced yesterday. Also, Romeo and Juliet, another love play. Edward Hogg and Kirsty Bushell are playing the lovers, the star-crossed lovers. And it's going to be her final. I think they're going to be doing King Lear as well, and other Shakespeare plays going into sort of September, which will also be part of the season. So that's very exciting. And she has promised that it's going to contain exactly the same amount of lights and all kinds of electronic equipment that she absolutely is true to her word. Love in Idleness by Terence Rattigan has had its casting announced. Helen George is playing from Cool Midwife. She's playing one of the leads, as is Anthony Head and Eve Best. That's going to be at the Mini A Chocolate Factory from the 20th of March to the 29th of April. Anthony Head, remember him in Buffy? We love
I
Anthony
worked
Head.
with Anthony Head on Merlin.
Did you?
Yeah, I love Anthony Head.
He's a very nice man, isn't he?
Very nice man.
Yes, and he is brilliant in Buffy. What was he like in? He does those kinds of.
He was a baddie in Merlin. He was
Was
like,
he?
yeah, he was Uther Pendragon. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the father of Arthur. Well, yeah, wasn't a nice guy, but lovely offset.
Lovely offset, absolutely.
Nice to have that difference, I think.
Yeah, you don't want them to be bad. Yeah, absolutely. Eve Best in that as well. She's a fantastic actress. What else is happening? Sleepless in Seattle musical has been postponed. Danny Mack and Carly Stenson, it was meant to open in Plymouth in April, but due to an illness within the producer's family and overwhelming unexpected circumstances, it's been cancelled. That's quite strange. And quite strange, not a strange reason in itself, but quite a strange sentence to put out there, I thought. Overwhelming, unexpected. Sounds quite dramatic. Anyway, I hope everybody's all right there. But sad for Sleepless in Seattle, but a lovely film that is. Anyone like Sleepless in Seattle? Probably not really a guy's film, is it?
I haven't seen it, I'm afraid.
No. Have you seen it, Alex?
I have, a long time ago.
Meg Ryan, a bit of Tom
I
Hanks.
think they're great.
It's a great film.
It's before Meg Ryan went mad, wasn't it?
It is before she went mad. I know.
When she went mad and work done mad.
I know.
I think they probably came at the same
Probably
time.
came around the same time.
Yeah, work made to go
Yeah,
mad.
that did go. Yeah, she did have some. It was her lips, wasn't it? What did she do to her lips?
Everything.
And then
What if poor Meg's listening?
oh, Meg, I'm sorry. It's very likely, Max. Right, I'm going to play another song, and then we're going to chat to our lovely guests, Alex and Max, who are doing La Ronde at the Bunker. We're going to chat about their rehearsal process and how they're having to share a rehearsal space with Let It Shine. But, and here we go, not necessarily in that order. We're going to play a song now called Birmingham by Shovels and Rope, who I'm going to see on Monday. Good, everybody. That was, who was that? Shovels and Rope with Birmingham. Brilliant. Slick movement there, well done, well done. Right, we're talking to Alex Vlahos and Max Gill this morning. So, Alex,
Hi.
we are going to be talking to you about your song choices.
Oh, yes.
But first
I
of
can't
all-
even remember them. So.
That's okay. No, that's okay. But first of all, tell us a little bit your involvement with La Ronde. You've been doing a lot of television recently. So
Yeah.
can you talk us through a little bit from how you've gone from theatre to television and then back to theatre, or is there more of a story to
Well,
it than that?
I think I would always do theatre if it paid more. I
Yeah.
think it's where my heart is and my passion is as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, the last thing I did on stage was in London was Fortune's Fool at the Old Vic. And then I went off to do Macbeth with Ken Branagh on Broadway.
Wow. Did you do that with Rosie Craig?
I did, yeah. Well, no, Rosie Craig didn't do Broadway, unfortunately.
Okay,
so-
then
but-
she's the Manchester
Yeah, she's
version.
the Manchester one. And then as I was out in New York, I found out I got Philippe in Versailles.
Okay.
And then that was 2-3 years ago now. So I've just been sort of not stuck doing television, but once you're in television, casting directors see you as a television actor, and then you sort of, it's very hard to then jump back.
Go back, of course. Yeah.
And
yeah.
after I've just finished doing season 2, and then I did another little job with I worked with Jeffrey Rush and Ron Howard.
Oh
in
my
Prague.
God. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's playing Einstein, and I was playing a little part in that.
Wow.
As I was out there, I just phoned my agent and said, I'm just sort of desperate for a challenge, really. And I've been offered a couple of things. One's in Nottingham Playhouse and one, like different like regional stuff. And
Yeah.
none of them sort of, they're kind of bog standard. Nothing really excited me. And then my agent phoned me and said, do you want to go and meet Max and an audition for this play? And I read it, and then I read the concept and just thought, bloody hell, that's mad.
Oh my God.
And then met with him and said, why are you doing this, you nutter?
He's looking very small.
Didn't I? I said in the audition,
Yes.
you said, have you got any questions for me? And I was like, yeah, why? Why are you doing this? But it's crazy. And also I don't think I've ever worked on anything that allows you to be possibly 10 characters on stage. And you have to
Wow.
have 10 distinct characters from each other. And instead of working with, a company of 16, 20,
Yeah, of
possibly
course,
like
yeah.
the National and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I've never done a modern play. I've never done a studio play.
Really?
I've never done a play with a cast of 4. It's
God.
always been at least 15 plus.
So this is absolutely the challenge you were looking
Yeah,
for.
so in all that respect, a massive challenge, and then also the respect of, in this respect of what the play entails and what it asks from an actor. And yeah, I've never been in a rehearsal process like it, because usually when you rehearse, you have one character, and you do that 4-week rehearsal period where you map out your journey and you sort of add layers and layers and layers and layers, and then you tech and then you open, and that's usually the sort of bog standard process. And it's your character, and you talk about your things, and you have a sort of ownership over whoever you're playing, because unless there's an understudy, but it's yours. You're the only person that's playing that part in that production. Whereas in La Ronde, you have no ownership. You can't be like that, because you'll go up and do one scene, and then within 5 minutes of the scene finishing, 2 other actors will replace you and do exactly this and do the same scene
really?
again. So it's and it keeps it incredibly fresh in rehearsals and exciting and challenging, and all the actors that we're working with are brilliant people. Amanda Wilking, Lee Moore, Marriott Jr. and Lauren Samuels are all very generous people, very generous actors. And in the rehearsal room, we are constantly bouncing ideas off each other and elevating ourselves, I guess. It's kind of one of them plays where you're trying to bring out the best in each other, which is just a lovely thing.
Absolutely. So if you're playing 10 different characters,
Yeah.
you don't have 10 different costumes, because I suppose everybody...
You do.
You do have 10 different costumes?
Indeed.
Goodness. I always
But
ask
I mean,
that from a...
we have to have 10 characters in our heads, but we'll never play 10 characters on the show, because it's...
Okay, because it moves...
There's a roulette wheel.
Oh,
So between each scene, we'll spin the roulette wheel,
that
and
decides.
that decides
God.
who will go on. So
Such a clever...
usually...
So when I was reading the play, I was trying to access what is this idea of La Ronde, because in the original it's a cross section of society through the sex lives of the inhabitants, and it goes from the prostitute all the way up to the king, who then has sex with the prostitute. So the whole thing is about the kind of churn and the swirl of the city, and the twists and turns of fate that lead you to certain people. And then when I was reading it, I thought, hang on, this idea of the Wheel of Fortune could actually be a physical entity in the play, and then how might that work? And I thought today, in an era where luckily we have a greater degree of gender fluidity and sexual choice, why not make that the centerpiece of the play and have this Wheel of Fortune dictate everything that's happening, and then to really explore how sexuality and gender is all a performance and a character in itself, and that's where the initial idea came from, which then meant, however, that we had to, with the script, it had to be applicable to be able to be performed by a man or a woman, of any sexuality, of any age or appearance. And so it means that the script in itself is stripped of any markers that point to any of those notions or labels, which means that they can be inhabited by any person. But what then happens is that in performance, the script becomes incredibly gendered, because it asks you to confront your own prejudices and expectations about where you see a certain person in society and how they should perform, and what passive or active behaviour is, if masculine and feminine exist as a behaviour, and if that's connected to any physical reality at all, because no one is born a man or a woman in terms of their character. And that's kind of what we're trying to explore, and the actors are doing such a good job that there is no, when you read the script, sometimes you think, God, that is so obviously a man or a woman in terms of their behaviour. Then the way that the actors have embodied it, now that you really can't tell, and it becomes an idea about how we perform our own gender, and what we want from that when we are acting as ourselves in real life.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it feels like a really good time to play Christine and the Queens.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. I think it's quite obvious why you've chosen that.
I know it is.
So that was, of course, Christine and the Queens with IT. That was your first choice,
It was,
Alex
yeah.
Vlahos. Tell us, well, obviously we know we were just talking about the gender fluidity, and that's the reason, but you had something to say about, you were talking about her a little bit.
Well, yeah, she came out as she's pansexual.
Yeah.
And also the song is referring to, I guess, her sort of trying to discover who she is as a person, and what gender she thinks she is, or what she identifies with, and what society says, no, you're this, and she thinks, no, I'm that. And I just thought it's just very apt, considering what we're doing with the play, and like what we think a bus driver might be. Well, a bus driver has to be a bloke, and a prostitute has to be a woman, and the idea that we're actually flipping that on his head, and so so that was I thought a very logical first choice.
Absolutely, very logical. But we're just talking about your coming back to theatre.
Yeah.
So after you've done this, have you got any more plans?
I'm
to
going
do
back
more?
to do Versailles season
You're doing-
3.
okay,
So yeah,
well,
and it's a 7-month job. Season 1 was 8 months, and then season 2 was 6 months, and now season 3 is 7 months. So I start in May, and I'll finish in end of November.
Okay.
So it takes a lot of the year up.
Yeah.
And which is lovely, because you get to be in a position where you then get to pick and choose. So I'm kind of glad that I get to do this now in the start of the year, and every time I'm doing Versailles, or not even just Versailles, any telly work, I don't feel like I'm really acting, and I hate to say that.
It's a very different beast, isn't it?
It excites me in a really different way, and also the end game of television and film is that, well, there is no end game. You do your work, and you turn up every day, and you're filming out of order and stuff, and then year, maybe 6 months and 8 months later, you'll get to see your reward, or your
performance.
your performance.
Yeah.
And by that point, I think I change as an actor daily, you know. So by that point, you're looking back, you're working, why the hell
Why
did
did
I
I
do
do
that?
that? Yeah.
Whereas within theatre, you get an immediate response, and it's much more gratifying.
Yeah.
Hence why I'm an actor. All the attention, please. All the applause.
So your second choice of song is White Lies. Hold Back Your Love. Tell us what it is.
One of my very, very, very close friends, Charles Cave, is the bassist for the White Lies.
Oh, really?
And I went to see them perform their new album at Shepherd's Bush in November, and I just think there's some of their best work. And our play La Ronde is all about love, desire, and I think if you listen to the lyrics of this song, it's about giving love and receiving love and what that entails. So yeah.
Here we go. That was Hold Back Your Love from White Lies. Alex Vlahos' second choice this morning. We've got Alex Vlahos in the studio and Max Gill. They are chatting about their show La Ronde. Max is directing it. We're going to be chatting to him a little bit later. He's chosen 3 songs, and I want to talk about his directing process and how he works in a very serious way.
How long have we got?
No, he talks very articulate.
No,
yeah.
of course, I'm joking.
No, so at the moment you're rehearsing.
Yeah.
You're rehearsing over in Fulham, did you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we were rehearsing in the Rag Factory on Brick Lane, and now we're
that
doing
would
the
be
last week now in
Oh, so it's only 1 week in Dance Art.
Yeah,
Yes.
we
Oh, that's
relocated
not
for
too
a
bad.
week,
We
yeah.
relocated, yeah.
Okay.
So,
But it's quite busy there, isn't it? People
It is
coming
busy,
and
yeah.
going.
There's
and-
lots of
cruise.
cruise
Lots of music.
auditions and
So we
lots
had
of
Under the Sea about 100 times playing.
Oh,
throughout.
really? Under the sea.
yeah.
Oh, no.
And it's quite, you should be able to be professional enough to sort of concentrate on the work in the room.
Yes, of course.
But
Focus.
when you
Focus.
hear, Under the Sea
Yeah.
being played as you're about to do a very emotional scene,
Oh, my
kind of
gosh.
undercuts it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my god, that must be so hard.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. So you open. So this week is your last week of rehearsal. Then
Yeah.
you start teching.
Start teching on Thursday, the get-ins on Wednesday, and then we open on Friday night.
That's the
Saturday
first-
the 11th.
that's the
is
first
our
preview.
first preview.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So sort of it's coming to that point where it's all starting to get
It's crunch time.
real.
We've
and-
started in the last couple of days just running the play with the roulette wheel and
Okay. Amazing idea.
so there'll be times when I think it was a run 2 days ago where Amanda, one of the actresses, she only got to do 2 characters, whereas me and Lauren got to do 4. It was quite
Right.
intense
Oh,
thing
okay.
for-
This is how it goes. I
yeah, it's
suppose.
just how it goes, and some days you'll have a quiet night. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's a potential that there's a
Yeah.
potential you might only go on once for one
There's
character.
a very small chance
Very
you
small
might
chance.
not go on at all.
Oh my god. This is
Yes.
such a brilliant
And
idea.
sod's law is that'll be the time when your agent and your
Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg's in the
Oh my
audience.
god. That's the old, yeah.
all he wants to do is he's just constantly harassing me, Spielberg. I'm just like,
Oh,
stop it. No. Yeah, so we're starting running the play now, and it's kind of exciting because it offers up. Well, it kind of you get to the idea of like what the play is going to be like for an audience as well, and for you. And it's mad. It's proper mad.
It's all getting real. So your final choice, Alex.
Oh yes.
Is Simple Minds. Don't
Yeah.
you forget about me. Now you're clearly not a child of the 80s, so this is not a Breakfast Club
I was born
reason.
in '88, but,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm kind of a '90s child as far as music
Yes.
goes.
So why have you chosen this?
Have you seen the film, The Breakfast Club?
Yes.
I mean, just
That's what
like
I thought.
it's just
but-
brilliant, and I just picked it because they're a bunch of they're all misfits, aren't
Yes.
they? And they're all completely different.
Brilliant.
And just going to La Ronde, Max has managed to cast 4 very different types of actors, which is perfect for the play.
Right.
4 different approaches, 4 different ways of looking at
Yeah.
a scene, and it's very important that we weren't all the same because I think then the play would become quite one tone.
Yeah, of course.
So we all approach things differently and all have a different way of.
So you're saying
our
it's like the
process.
Breakfast Club.
So we're kind of
And
but-
Max is like, oh.
no, but with the
Very grotesque family.
you're Max is the headmaster, and no, but I just thought just to link it back to
Yeah.
the play. It's
Oh, I like that. That's
yeah, it's
good.
kind of like a
Yeah.
bit of a misfit bunch together. So yeah.
Fantastic, and a brilliant song. So that was Don't You Forget About Me, and it was because of the Breakfast Club, and that was Alex's final choice.
Thank you for playing my songs.
You're very welcome, Alex.
It's made me right happy now.
Good. Now, Max, moving on to you. We have got 3 very different songs that you have chosen. You are directing La Ronde. How have you found that process so far?
Well, it's been completely new for everyone with the setup of the play where every character is potentially playing every part. It's also, as I wrote the script, it's a bit of a...
You wrote the script, or you adapted it from-
Adapted.
yeah.
Well, it's a very new adaptation, so really the setup of the original is the only thing that remains.
Okay.
Just the kind of grammar of 2 people meeting and having sex, and that
Yeah.
takes us through societies. So we've adapted it to be set in modern London now completely, so all the characters are new and
Right.
different. But that was obviously it's a slightly difficult position in a rehearsal room to be the writer and
Yeah, of
director,
course,
because
it's
you need to be able to be in a
conflicting,
position
yeah.
to be, hang on, this line's a bit shit.
It's gotta
Can we
match.
change that?
Yeah.
And then the actors need to feel comfortable to be able
Yeah.
to say, I don't know if this is working.
You did say a brilliant thing, like just imagine that the writer has been dead for 200 years, and that we have to question.
yeah.
Question.
But you run the
director
risk, you don't want to offend. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
difficult. It's tricky. I mean, directors find it difficult enough anyway, having the writer in the room,
Yeah.
let alone it being the same person. My goodness, it's a battle of your own minds.
Exactly.
So, yeah, tell us how that's been. You've obviously struggled with that a little bit.
It's been it's been great, and the actors have been brilliant about it and being very open and honest about how they talk about the script. The script was kind of inspired in part by I went around London and trawled through the sort of sex lives of various of inhabitants as much as possible, talking to sex workers and fetishists and people who've committed incest and adulterers and the bored and married, and kind of asked them for their own testimonies about the sexual experience. And those in part informed lots of the scenes that are in the play. So it's really a kind of curation of sexual appetites
Wow.
in London today.
Yeah.
But it's been an amazing process to rehearse because we all have to be there the whole time. So it's much more collaborative than any other process I've been involved with before, and often rehearsing scenes in tandem with all four in the scene at the same time has been a new thing for everyone.
Yeah. God.
So two people will take the space and two people will run the lines, you know, and they're going up, and then one.
That's such a bizarre thing to be doing.
It feels like a relay at sometimes.
Yeah.
They finish and we go up and then you try it again, and it's tricky, but
How
it's fun.
strange. Well, let's play your first song, which I think may be the slightly different version than you had wanted. Let's try.
Good luck, everyone.
This is
Sea, Sex and Sun by Serge Gainsbourg.
okay. He looks very
hope.
dubious about this. So we decided to play a different Serge song in the end because that one was very odd. Sorry about that. It's very strange. It was the only one, in my defence, it was the only one on Spotify, but I can see it was completely the wrong kind of tone, I would imagine, and that's Sexy Bridget was much more like it. So Max, you run Heretic Productions.
Yes, which I set up last year with a fellow actor called Jordan Waller, who's in Victoria, and we are hoping to continue making new work, readapting classics. We did a lovely reading of a play with Rebecca Front.
I saw that, High Moon.
Yes,
I saw
indeed.
you did that. Yeah, I thought, my goodness, you've got Jenny Galloway and Rebecca Front.
Yeah, and a lovely actor,
fantastic
Jack,
actresses.
who was in Winter's Tale when I was working on the Branagh season.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was fantastic. We're hoping to take that around London sometime.
Yeah, it'd be great if you could get them in it as well.
I know. Well,
Rebecca Front, what an amazing actress she is. Oh my God. So that's fantastic. So you only launched it last year and already you've got a good interest with, you know, some exciting actors and exciting people involved.
absolutely. So,
But this is the
onwards and
first
upwards.
play that you've done with a production company.
Yes, this is our very, very first production. So, and we're doing it's a collaboration with a production company called Collaborative Artists, which is run by a lovely producer called Daniel Donskoy, who I met through Jordan, as Daniel was also in Victoria.
Victoria is in the TV.
The ITV, yes.
Ah, okay, yeah. I did watch a couple of those. They were good. Yeah. All right, we're going to play your next one, which I love. Now, I'm pretty certain I've got the right one because I love this piece of music and I did actually sort of play it. This is Requiem from Mozart. Why have you chosen
indeed.
this?
Because when I'm writing, I need to feel like I'm possibly going to die at any moment in order to do it. I think there's a... it taps into a sublime world. I love the legends that Mozart possibly wrote it for his own funeral, and in that way it sets some quite good funeral goals, I think.
I'd love this play at my funeral. So, Max Gill, you are directing La Ronde at the Bunker. How did that come about?
It came. I had this nutty idea for the play about a year ago, and was working out exactly how it could get put together, where might be adventurous enough to take it. And then I met Daniel, our producer, and he loved the idea and jumped on it. Then, while the Bunker was just kind of beginning, we had some early meetings, and they are fantastic for taking risks, supporting young artists, which unfortunately there is little of in theatre today, I feel. And so they heard the idea, loved it, read some early drafts of the script, and then it was all systems go, really, from there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Fantastic. So, your first production with Heretic?
Yes.
As in your first... That's fantastic. And what a great venue to be doing it in. It's such a nice place.
It's a beautiful...
The Bunker.
Yeah.
So that's London Bridge, isn't it?
London Bridge, yeah.
So I've got a feeling there was a National Theatre party... Because is it near the Vaults?
It's very close to the Menier Chocolate Factory.
It's
It's sort of beneath
I
it.
know. Okay, everything's underground now.
I know,
yeah.
But it's perfect
kind
for
of
this
cool.
because it's squalid and dingy and claustrophobic. And
do you know what's quite good to know in that area? And I'm just going to tell the world now, or the people who are listening, which is obviously not the world. But you're quite near the Breakfast Club, aren't you?
Yes.
There is a secret bar under the Breakfast Club.
Is there?
Yes, it's not that secret now. But if you Google it, it will tell you have to say some password. You go into the Breakfast Club.
It's kind of like what is it called?
A speakeasy. Yeah, have you been there? Have you?
No, I haven't. But like there's loads of them still around in New York. We have to sort of do like a
Yeah.
like a secret knock.
But it's so cool because you go in there and you talk to the guy, you think you're going into the Breakfast Club, you say the word to him and he takes you through the kitchen, down the stairs and everything and into this funny little, it's really cool little bar. And if you want to get away from all the theatre types, you can just go there.
That's
It's
perfect.
really,
Good tip, thank you.
yeah, and it's like, it's perfect for these sort of cold winter days as well. Anyway, let's play your final song, which
Yeah.
is L'Appuntamento.
Mentos. So,
And then we'll talk about how you can get tickets.
okay, great. Shall I talk about
Yeah.
it? Yeah, so
Yes,
this
yes.
is an Italian song. My mother is half Italian. I think in this day and age we need to listen to as much European music as possible. I hope you're listening, Teresa.
Aw.
It is about a woman who turns up for a date with a past flame and he very sadly never turns up.
Oh. So before we go, I just want to talk about how you can get tickets for La Ronde. Tell us how.
So,
and-
if you go to bunkertheatre.com, I believe is the
Uh-huh.
website, you can get them there. We have £12 previews. There's 10 tickets for under 25s at £10 for every performance.
Oh, that's
The
good.
standard is £19.50, but there are also other concessions
And just
available.
Fantastic.
also just yesterday we sort of confirmed that we're going to do some. I'm going to be signing some posters and the
Oh, great.
and the play
Yeah,
text.
yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
The play text is going to be available
It's
to
going to
buy.
be published
Brilliant.
over on,
All the
which
cast
is
will be
good.
signing it and everything, so you can
That's
buy that,
fantastic.
and that'll help go towards everything as well. So yeah.
Oh, brilliant. That's really good. So good luck with it, guys.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
Thank you
us.
so much for
having us.
coming in. We really appreciate it. It's been
Thank you
lovely.
very
Lovely
much.
to see you.
Thank you very much.
And good luck with the show. And here's a little bit more of this later.